In general, whether you are a professional or SME, it doesn't matter. There's always ways to waste budget. It's just how much budget do you have to waste?
We build more goal-oriented AI. So either get a client to book an appointment, or we have to make sure, they complete the booking funnel until payment.
Having tools like Superbench makes a huge difference
Thank you.
to be able to automate some of the strenuous workload.
Let's say I'm running a clinic right now, right? Let's say aesthetic clinic. How should I structure this overall strategy?
5K a month can do a great deal of good or also do nothing at all. If you know who your customers are, you should be able to narrow down your focus. I think one thing that SMEs do wrongly or the agencies do wrongly is...
I'm Jingjing, co-founder of Superbench, previously GM at Helpling. So I have a bit of experience managing budget, did some performance marketing, we did some branding as well, led a branding initiative at Helpling, and then managed to operationalize the brand for, I think, it took us a whole year. And after that, I left, now helping SMEs to use AI.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing.
And Robert?
Cool. Robert Lai, founder of Kaliber. I previously worked at Google in Sydney, worked at Google in New York, worked at 7 large ad agencies. Predominantly, my career has mostly been in the enterprise side of managing large ad budgets, working with clients, and to this day, still doing a lot of that stuff. My passion, though, is in small business. My father ran a restaurant for 17 years. I chose not to take over that restaurant simply because he didn't want me to have that type of lifestyle. And as a part of me is a bit, sad to not carry on the legacy, because it's not until you get older where you realize that 17 years running a restaurant is not really common. A lot of restaurants close within 6 months or a year. So yeah, I've just trying to continue to develop my skill sets in marketing and try to see what I can pass on towards smaller businesses. I think the biggest difference that I've seen in the last year or two of really closing the gap for someone like myself to come and help many small business scale has been AI. So I would love to also learn more about what you're doing with AI to help small businesses as well.
Yeah, speaking of AI, it's been almost 3 years since ChatGPT went crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, huh? Time flies. Yeah.
Yes. So are you guys using any AI tools in your agency?
We're trying to use as much as possible. At the moment, I would say predominantly as a productivity tool, helping with research, helping with things that we just suddenly need to get done. For a few of the team members that have English as a second language, they've been using a lot to be able to improve their grammar and other things as well. Obviously, they use apps like Grammarly, but to be able to form documents and stuff is on a different scale. And yeah, at the moment now, taking a different step above, I think the greatest application of AI in marketing at the moment is for qualitative analysis.
Yeah.
I think all the quantitative stuff, yeah, sure, it can save time, but I think the part where it really opens up and makes a big difference, because productivity just means you can do things faster, right? Whereas taking things to another level is doing things that you couldn't really do before because there was just too much to uncover. So I feel like qualitative analysis is the area that would add the most value, and actually is also quite important to SMEs as well.
Yeah. Do you have clients telling you that, hey, Robert, since now you can use AI, so is it possible to hire you at a cheaper rate?
Yeah, that's the ambition actually. So we're working on something at the moment, trying to leverage AI to sort of come up with the first agency offering where the fees get lower on a monthly basis. So we're incentivized to try and lower costs by trying to make more productivity or sort of increase the amount output for time. So that I hope will be a game changer. But all these things are in the works at the moment. There's still lots of things to do while still operating a business. So
Yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like you can definitely serve a lot more clients, for example, SMEs, while still maintain the margin that you were, working on when you're working with enterprise account.
Yeah. There is margin for the ecosystem to work for SMEs. It's just the quality of work is different. So there's lots of SME type agencies that exist, market agencies that exist, and obviously it's typically first preference for a small business to hire an agency because they're supposed to come at a cheaper cost. But then quality is dwindled. Agencies typically will focus on the clients in which pay them the most margin.
Yeah.
So that's where it becomes, difficult to then manage. So even if, an agency like ours may be able to deliver quality, it's not feasible for the SME to pay such costs.
Yeah.
So then how do you get a balance, right? So I think AI does bridge that gap a little bit more where they can get quality work done without having to pay a hefty price.
One of the biggest reasons I want to have this chat with you, actually I corner you, is because after I spent a month,
Yeah.
met 35 SME owners, 80% of them were burned by the marketing agency. And obviously, I heard about you from other people, and people have been telling me, you need to talk to Robert. He does a good job. He delivers results. So I was like, okay, like all these SMEs kind of got burned, right? I know a little bit of it, but at the same time, I want to talk to the experts. Can you tell us, let's say, maybe give us 3 ways how to waste your clients' money without getting caught?
3 ways to waste your client's money without getting caught. It's pretty hard. I mean, look, actually, it is pretty easy. Um, Number one is you can use it on PMax and one of those automated black boxes.
Yeah.
It will give you the facade that you're getting results,
Yeah.
but it doesn't really mean that you're getting results. So, the black box will spend money on your brand name and do things like that, and spend money on remarketing audiences where these people are already going to convert. Um, Attribution is also a factor. So Meta claims credit for things that may not have happened yet. Google does a bit of the same. So even though someone became customer of yours, them slotting an ad in between, even though the user may not have seen it, is something that they claim credit for.
Yeah.
So I think in general, whether you are a professional or SME, it doesn't matter. There's always ways to waste budget. It's just how much budget do you have to waste? But I would say the danger for the SMEs is when you allow your agency to own your accounts, you are allowing for all different types of chaos and things to happen. So
Yeah.
it's quite common I see where the agency holds the account hostage and don't give access. But then, all the reports that are made, they're all made in Excel sheets and
Yeah.
spreadsheets. So I can change any number that I want there and you don't know what's the truth. Right? I can say that you got X amount of leads and the customer will say, I never got these leads, right? But there's no way to argue that. So in the end, the person that pays the bill is still the business. So
Yeah.
those are things that I would say is just, number one, it's more of what you should not do. Number one, if you don't have ownership of your accounts or can't see the work that's been done, don't pay for the work, right? Don't do it. Don't enter an agreement and such. Even if they have some proprietary, whatnot, don't know what, it's not something that you want to get yourself or expose yourself to because then there's no truth in numbers.
Yeah.
And number two is making sure that you know where the ads are placed and that you can see the ads. So right now with Facebook Ads Library, Google Ads Library, and all those things, you can see where the ads are being placed, how they're being placed. That gives a little transparency. Why that's important is because everyone needs to be particular around how their ads look.
Yeah.
If the ads don't look in the way that you expected or you anticipate, then you're wasting budget.
Yeah.
Right? Because the users will see it as a wasted view as well. So those are some things that to work out, and just making sure that you have a baseline understanding is. I know business owners are busy, but we're also consumers ourselves. We all use Google, we all use Instagram, all those things. Having that level of awareness to see what else other people are doing, seeing how you behave on that can all play part into how you would imagine your ads are performing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I still see agencies are paying, let's say, 5 digits to build a brand new website because it's supposed to be SEO friendly. What's your thought on these AI tools that creates website in 5 minutes and they're SEO friendly?
Yeah. Depends on what you're looking for. I think if you're looking for function of a form, then the AI tools do a good enough job. Sometimes a better job depending on who you're speaking to and paying 5 figures for a website. For myself personally, I care about the identity, the way it interacts, and the level of control. AI isn't at a place where you have full control of the output. So if you're a bit picky and you want your brand to be represented in a different way, then I think that's you don't really have too much of a choice. Or you do have choices if you want to, I guess, invest more time to understand how a website is being built.
Yeah.
But there are options out there. So if you care more around design, you can look at a combination of a Figma and a Webflow to get that done. There's also a Framer as well that exists,
Yeah.
in which if you care about design, care about your brand. But for the most part, if you are just focusing on getting leads and just need speed, then the AI tools make the most sense.
Right. But what about blogs? You need to, like, one of the core component for SEO is
Good
blogs.
question. Yes. I would first challenge, do you, as a user, do you read blogs? If you don't read blogs, then are your customers reading these blogs? Or are you ranking just to rank, right? So if the intention is for you to rank, then I would say be strategic around what you want to rank for, because every keyword that you want to bid on or try to rank for is going to cost you resources, is going to cost you money, right? So if a part of that is having a blog strategy, then sure, do that, but do it very strategically where you want to rank for specific things, since you don't have all the money in the world. And it also will cost you to keep your ranking where it is. Obviously, everyone's trying to fight for the same rankings, right? With all the current changes with AI overviews and all that stuff, I think now it's moving to a place where you need to have substance.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that content that you make is referenceable, like people are going to acknowledge it, people actually use it beyond just for your own personal use or beyond your just for your customers. So I think that will change the landscape a lot, and people will need to rethink if blog is the right strategy for them.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, Google's cracking down on all the AI generated content
Right.
at the moment. So whilst you can get content live, is it substantial? Is it something that they can use? And with AI overviews, there's going to be less territory, less space.
Yeah.
Oh, so at the moment, I think there's some stats saying that there's around a 31% reduction in overall traffic for anyone that's on organic or paid as a result of the AI overviews as is. So those just make a significant difference when it comes to overall landscape of how you want to look at blogs. So you can get blogs done for really cheap using AI tools, but if they're not helping you rank and they delisting, websites as a result, then you don't really want to be banking all that much.
Yeah.
The rules have changed,
Yeah.
and I think that's a biggest thing. And whilst AI is a tool that everyone can use, Google still has to protect the needs of the users, right? And the users don't want to just see all this sort of spammed content in their face. So
Absolutely. So do you have clients asking you, hey, Robert, can you give me an AI overview every single time?
there's clients are starting to ask a question around AI overviews and what this means.
Yeah.
Google I/O recently announced that there will be ads featured in the AI overviews as well. But the details of which and all that's and how they'll rank and how they'll choose is still yet to be released. But one thing that's consistent in Google is they respect the needs of the users. So you would imagine it'll have to tie something in towards that. So it can't just be your ad is paying the most. It has to be a combination of there are things that are referenceable, there are things that make sense for the customer, and as a result, they'll push your ads there. So
Right. So what does that mean to, let's say, companies who are currently having an SEO agency? Do they need to, what can they do now
yeah.
to continue still showing up, in the next couple of years, let's say?
Well, I'd take a look first if anything has changed on their side,
Right.
right? Based on the current agency's practices. If the current agency was banking a lot on AI to generate content, I would assume that their websites have been punished as a result, right? So then whatever work and legacy work that was done there would likely, backfire in ways to their traffic at current. But um, I think it's right now is a time for them to be more aware. I mean, once again, you can use AI as a tool to, speak to ChatGPT to share your website, share your concerns, share
Yeah.
things, and to get the latest updates of how the SEO is impacted. AI is able to reference the resources and the links and the latest news from Google I/O to be able to share that context. So I think there's a lot there that can be educated on, but I think now's the time where business owners need to be a lot more educated. The world's changing too fast, even too fast for the agencies.
Yeah. Wow. Then if let's say I'm running a clinic right now, right? Let's say aesthetic clinic. As you're saying, telling me all of this, and then I wouldn't know where should I spend, let's say I have a 5K budget. Because things are, yeah, there's so many things that are changing, right? I need to keep track of, okay, what's changing, what's my ranking, and also I'm running paid ads on Google. Also, I have my social because I'm an aesthetic clinic, so I need to showcase, right? Nowadays, AI can also read images, not just like long tail keywords.
Yeah.
So how should I structure this overall strategy?
First and foremost, if you're an aesthetics clinic, number one, one clinic or do you have many clinics, right? I think the strategy would depend on that. 5K a month can do a great deal of good or also do nothing at all, depending on how you answer that question.
Yeah.
So if I have one clinic, then where are my customers then coming from? I will assume that this aesthetics clinic is not one that's brand new. It's one that has run for a period of time, and the customers know who they are. Sorry, you know who your customers are. So if you know who your customers are, you should be able to narrow down your focus, right? I think one thing that SMEs do wrongly, or the agencies do wrongly, is they like take a local bakery, for example. I can technically sell bread to everyone in Singapore. I could even sell to people in JB if I really, really want this, right? But should you be advertising there? That's a different question. That's a different story, right? There are bakeries all over the island. Should you be focusing on the people that are in close proximity to you, or should you be focusing on people far away that have to make the effort to drive, right? So where you are located, where it's most strategic for you to win first are the place where I'll focus my emphasis. So with that 5K budget that you mentioned, well, first, does it make sense for me to try to win across everyone in Singapore? When it comes to a channel like Google Ads, one thing you can't do about Google Ads, you can't control whether this person is a premium buyer or a budget buyer, right? So is your aesthetics clinic one of the cheapest in the market or one of the most expensive? If it's one of the most expensive, then I don't think Google's the place for you, right? Because you can't control who the person is on the other side that's searching. So then I would rather use a channel like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube as a way for my outreach, because then I can also visualize my product as well, right? Assuming that you're a more expensive product, you probably have more margins to work with to invest into marketing. So you can make the aesthetics of it look nicer as well. So those are all things that I'll sort of classify into my judgment of how I'll invest into advertising dollars. And to honestly start with first is whether or not you need advertising in the first place. Advertising is good if you have a well-run engine and you want to just put more fuel in the engine, right?
Yeah.
But if you have a leaky bucket and you just add more money into there, you're going to end up with a larger leaky bucket. So sometimes I get businesses saying, I just launched my website, I don't have any sales yet. Yet, there's a lot of different steps to take before you just advertise and drive traffic towards a website, right? Is the website any good? Is the offering right for the customers that you're trying to serve to? There's lots of aspects as well, and the time frame in which you expect results also matters.
Yeah.
So those are all things that I'd say play part before I just spend money.
Yeah, makes sense. I think one thing the business owner needs to think about is that, are you desperate for leads now? Or are you going for something more sustainable in the long term? Like you mentioned, YouTube, Meta ads, or even content play. These are, we're touching on brand already, not like a traditional performance channel on Google directly. So do you get clients asking you, hey, is this YouTube video going to get me how many leads? Question like this?
A lot of my clients, especially enterprise ones, ask questions around how YouTube is going to help scale my business. The fact is this, right? When you're looking to buy ads on TikTok or Meta, on average, the view time is going to be anywhere between 2 to 3 seconds. Now, if you get 2-second view on TikTok, what does that mean? It means half the audience watch for 3 seconds, the other half watch for 1 second. What does 1 second view mean? It means nothing, right? If I see something for 1 second, it means zero. It adds zero difference to my business. Even 3 seconds is so short. When you consider YouTube, on YouTube, you get a minimum of 5 seconds of time with the customer, plus a skip. And if they're engaged with the content, then they'll watch for longer.
Yeah.
And typically, the users that are on YouTube are sitting there for longer periods of time, prepared to consume longer forms of content. So as a result, you do get a bit more attention time with them as well. So when it comes to value, I feel like YouTube is considered great value if you're looking to build a brand or showcase your service, because some services take a bit more longer to explain and a bit more longer to justify. And YouTube gives you the time to make mistakes on content. If your content engine isn't the best, and it takes more than 5 seconds for the main point to kick in, then you need 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And TikTok and Facebook are not going to give you 5 seconds.
Right. Gotcha. That's interesting. So how do you guys keep track of, helping a client to track their ROI? Because a lot of clients, for marketing agencies, right?
Yeah.
Your job is more or less done when the lead comes in.
Yeah.
Whether a lead turn into sales, you need this information from the company
Yeah.
to feed it back to you. But then most clients, if they're not educated, they'll be like, Robert, I did not close any single deal this month. Your marketing is not working.
Yeah.
Right? I hear this a lot inside SME clients. They're like, I double my budget, but my revenue is lower. And then they basically doubling the trash, right?
Yeah.
Trash leads. I've seen this real life cases. So how do you answer to this?
It's important for the agency to work towards both outcomes. It's optimizing for obviously good leads, but also optimizing against the bad ones and knowing which are the bad ones, and be willing to cut the amount of conversions out to factors in. So for us, cleanliness of data matters, right? Us reporting, and it's also up to the customers to understand as well. If a lead comes in at $20, but 1 in 10 are trash, 1 in 10 are good, right? Your cost per lead is $200, not $20.
Yeah.
But people are, I want more good leads at $20. Let's figure out first what the cost is to get a good lead, and then work backwards from there, right? But don't start with my cost per lead is $20 and let me just get more of that and to figure out, because you must also understand the hidden costs to bad leads is it disrupts your sales cycles, disrupts your sales funnel, right? If it takes time for your customer service team to be responsive, to reach out, to communicate, that impacts it, right? So having tools like Superbench makes a huge difference.
Thank you.
Makes a huge difference to be able to automate some of the strenuous workload. But the core crux of it is, everyone needs to have some level of accountability. And sometimes it's not on the marketing. Sometimes it is on the workflow, and the sales flow. There's all these factors that come into whether a lead is of quality or not. But from the marketing side, we are able to understand a bit more around the demographics that we're targeting, what channels and what levers are leading towards bad leads, and just having that level of awareness, right?
Yeah.
When we have blinders on just trying to optimize to increase a figure,
Yeah.
we lose sight that, okay, maybe that's not the figure to work on. So try to work on both good and filtering out the bad leads and being active on it. And be okay knowing that, okay, all right, if 1 in 10 of these leads from this channel is good, 9 are trash, it's okay to cut that channel out, because frankly, it's not going to scale or work for us, right? So we shouldn't be playing a numbers game on the amount of trash that's there.
Yeah.
Try and find channels that do deliver better. But then also, how are the leads coming through, right? I think another big piece that is not often talked about is when we skip steps.
Yeah.
In the customer education piece, right? If we skip steps in trying to educate the customer on what our service offering is, how they should value it, and we just jump straight to price and promotion, that's exactly the type of lead you should expect, right? If all you're telling about the customer is, hey, this is how much this costs, what do? What do you expect those leads to be of any quality?
Yeah.
Right? All we put in there was price and a name, right? And our brand name isn't a name that's well known. So skipping steps at any stage is going to result in bad leads or bad outcomes. There's no shortcuts.
Yeah.
I would say is the answer. So there's no shortcuts. Taking the necessary steps. Make sure the education's there up front. If people already know who you are, you've done a good job of educating them, or it's been through word of mouth of a friend. Of course, those leads are always going to be better than others. Why are they better is the question.
Yeah.
And then how are you incorporating that into your sales channels, right? If your marketing channels are just focused on driving ROI, then you're likely not educating customer enough of how to value you. And that's going to result in bad leads or
Yeah.
bad close rates.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. I feel like this is something that previously in my last job, we were running quite a bit of tests. So for example, for Meta ads, we were playing around with Meta lead form versus direct WhatsApp messaging. And then we realized for HelpLink's offering, direct messaging works a lot better. So I just, in general, assume B2C works a lot better with direct WhatsApp, the button, right? Is there a term for this? I think there's a click to WhatsApp. I think that's what they call it. But then recently I came across a business. They're doing online education, like tuition, right? And then what we learned is that actually having a form there, yes, the conversion is much lower. However, the overall CAC and also the sales actually benefits from this because they're educating the parents through the lead form. So I guess as a business, when they hire agency, they need to be able to see these things and then test it intensively and also pass these data to the client, educate them that actually we ran 2 different tests, ran 2 different ads, and then the funnel A works a lot better. So I think like as a business owner, they need to have this curiosity to dig into the numbers instead of saying that, oh, I'm not an expert in marketing, so you tell me which one works better. And eventually what I've seen is that there are companies, they left an agency and they left the agency with 0 data. CRM, because the agency, they have a CRM and they don't eventually pass the data to the client because they call it's the data they need to feed back to the algorithm for the algorithm to learn it, right? Is this a BS explanation? Or
I think there's 2 parts of it. I think when it comes to the email addresses that you're trying to feed back to algorithms,
yeah,
that's a little bit BS. The reason why it's a little bit BS is because the match rates on those are so low that it's not really too much of a difference when it comes to excluding or targeting audiences
yeah,
or building lookalikes off of those.
yeah,
I think the core crux of feeding the algorithm is more of, I mean, if you don't know who you're trying to target or you don't know who your customers are, I don't think an algorithm is going to figure that out for you, right? You need to have some baseline of who your customers are.
yeah,
I mean, frankly, if you're SME, you're the one in the store, you can see who the customers are, right? So if you can, see the type of demographics and the type of placements and places where they sell those ads don't match, who your customers are or type of behaviors that we assume they have, then there's a mismatch in your targeting. And I don't think the algorithm is going to be too helpful to drive that. And the amount of ad flow that exists as well is also a factor. So, random leads or form fields being filled out. All we're doing by relying on the algorithm and trying to reward these actions is to feed more bad leads coming through.
yeah,
So I would say there's a level of BS, but a level of truth as well. So you do need to feed good data, that's for sure.
yeah,
But how much data is required for algorithm versus your own preferences is the question in the whole race. Because if you know who you want to reach, then just keep reaching them, right?
yeah,
Whether it close this month, next month, or in 6 months' time, it doesn't matter as long as you know you reach the right people. As long as the right people are seeing ads, then that's what matters at the end of the day. Let the algorithm find and do the work for you. Okay, sure. You'll see some short-term outcomes, but long-term, you don't really have an idea of how to continue generating the same result. Your life is dependent on whether or not the algorithm works.
yeah,
So that's a part of which I don't personally feel comfortable not knowing how I got to a result, right? So A lot of friends do ask me for their own personal businesses around Advantage Plus and using the automated targeting. I'm like, if you keep relying on automated targeting, how do you scale? And I'm like, oh, don't we just increase the budgets? What are you spending on though?
Yes.
You don't know what you're increasing for. And you don't know if this is catalyzing results that you did the hard work for, right? And you got the results, and then the algorithm is just claiming credit or inserting right at the right time before the sale came through. So without proper controls, and a lot of people will find that as you scale the budgets for these algorithm stuff, the results tend not to follow.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't go on the exact same scale.
Yeah.
So everyone plateaus and everyone reaches that point where it's like, oh, it's not making sense anymore. Why? Because it doesn't know who your audience is.
So I've seen a lot of this. So people often ask me, what are the questions that I'm asking the agency when I'm hiring, right? Tell me if you agree with this. Number one, are they using auto bidding? Number two, did the agency spend proper time to understand who's my ICP? I have a huge ICP doc. And then I try to see if they actually read it, and so they know who am I actually targeting. And number three, have they studied basically my demo, kind of part of ICP as well? How well did they know my target audience? Did they ask me for lookalike audience, right? Did they ask me for past data? Then I know that, okay, they're actually working with the algorithm instead of just clicking a button and see how. And minimally, they either provide feedback to me I'm looking at every 2 weeks, so I can keep track of all the data, right? Likely, but my personal preference is every week, so I can keep track of how much I'm spending daily and how many leads I'm getting and what's the results. And so I can make very quick decisions within a week. Okay, let's wait it out, or let's see how it performs. So by week 3, I can think about, okay, what I'm gonna do next month. But if I'm only getting a report, let's say once a month, that's way too late. Do you think these 3 are the good criteria when it comes to filtering a good agency?
I think there needs to be something more extensive.
Okay.
So for me, the biggest red flag is whether they've taken the time to understand the business. Understand the customer is one thing, but if you understand the business, then you also understand who the customers are, right? If I understand your aesthetics clinic and I know what type of procedures you provide, then I already know what type of audience. But it's unlikely to be men, for example.
Yeah.
It's going to be women of a certain age.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, if depending on pricing, also is going to determine whether then that helps me at least, because when you talk about targeting, knowing the customer, I sense from that. So if I already know the audience that you're after, then I currently suggest the locations where those people will live, right? So the people that live in Orchard, the Bukit Timah, those ones would be right for a sales clinic that's on the premium side of town.
Yeah.
Right? So that's how then I'll narrow it down. That's how I know as an agency whether or not it's delivering to the right person. So I think, if you're looking to just get boxes ticked off, I think that's a decent list. But if they don't understand the business, how you make money, the margin that you have, them knowing what is too expensive or cost to begin with, those are the issues that I'd say will be there. And so making sure that the problem that stands at the moment is when you say marketing agency, marketing is very, very different to performance marketing, to SEO, to all other things, right? So you've got marketing operators and then you've got marketing practitioners.
Yeah.
Often your agency is not a practitioner, they're an operator. So if you're looking for a marketing agency to be that person that's sort of, represents and sits almost like an in-house team, then they need to understand your business and how it operates. That's most important. Operating, honestly, you can have a team of freelancers or whatever it is to do the same. But then what's the difference in if you're hiring an agency versus freelancer? You might as well hire a team of freelancers if you just want specific things done. But if you want someone that understands your brand, your company, your goals and ambitions, I think that's a big point to make sure to tick off. Another one is then also making sure that it's clear and objective.
Yeah.
Right? So not just the short-term objective though. So I would challenge the need of whether or not we need weekly updates to make the decision by week 3. Because if you know that the audience is right, if you know that you have positioned your business to target this audience and reach the audience as well, then what you need is, frequency and time. The reason there's a rule in marketing called the 95-5 rule. It says that only 5% of your audience is ready to purchase, 95% are not yet ready to buy, which is good representation, right? Because when you look at the total amount of leads, you look at the market that you address, obviously the amount of people that you speak to is nowhere near the amount of customers that you can work with, right? So it is a thing where you have to try to acquire those customers over time. So if that's the name of the game, in a lot of SMEs have very sticky businesses, meaning that, once you're a customer, you may sign for a package or you may continue using if the service is good, right? So if that's the case, then, your main objective is deliver good products and keep being visible over time. And over time, your business grow larger, right? Depending on marketing budget. So to change something in the instant, like one thing that agencies constantly recommend is like creative refresh or whatever it is, ad refresh. When they refresh, they change everything. They change color, change the logo, change the whole facade. And then any equity that was built is lost the moment that changes. So where possible, change as minimal as you can and only change what you then need to that's left over.
Yeah, understand. Also, you need the algorithm to learn which ad copy is working better, right? If you want to change things every single day, you have to relaunch the ads. Then it doesn't make sense because you still want to see how this ad perform and give it a bit of time. That makes sense. And also, you mentioned that most SMEs have very sticky business. I would challenge that. I actually have seen many SMEs, they supposed to be running a sticky business. However, they treat what I'm seeing in that they're using marketing almost like a drug. Without it, they have new clients. They have no clients because they haven't been able to figure out how to run a sticky business. For example, let's say a facial company, right? They're supposed to be running a recurring business because their client come back every other week or every month for facial. But because the initial trial is free or $30, but the facial actually costs, let's say, $300, $400 per session, then this acquisition funnel is just like 99% drop off after the trial session. And so the marketing team is creating a fake image of, okay, you guys are full, we're filling you up. But actually, there's no longevity of the business. Do you also advise business, let's say someone hire you as a fractional CMO, let them know that, hey, stop running ads like this?
For sure. I hate promotions. Ever since moving to Asia, I've never seen, every ad I see is a promotion. And there's little value conveyed. And I sort of understand the reason why they, feel the need to run all promotions first and foremost, but, they haven't tried the opposite, right? Of adding value instead. So, if the first thing that a customer sees is your brand with a number on it, then that's what you're educating customers to. You're educating customers to value at that price point, or value you based off a free trial, not based off the product and service you provide. And the fact is, most people or most businesses are not on the cheapest end of town. So if you are absolutely at the cheapest end of town, you have margins to work with, you're looking for scale and trying to get market share, just trying to acquire every person that we can, then that will make sense to run that sort of strategy, right? If we refer to telcos, Simba has been running this strategy for the last 4 years. They run at a loss or in terms of the initial subscribership, but over time, as long as they used to stay, then they're going to make a profit. So, for them, they can continue to do that and price everyone out. And as a result, the SIM cards prices for everyone on the island is cheaper because they made the competition so difficult. But then that's a race to the bottom. Right. So when it comes to then finding ways to drive a business without running promotions, what is it that you provide as a value? What are the variables that you provide? What are the key differences? How are you educating customers to understand how to value you versus other options, right? We can see from Western countries that they know how to build a brand It's around the storytelling, it's around valuing. And it's, to think, a lot of people will say, customers in Singapore, they only look for discounts, so that's the way that we operate. I don't see Apple using discounts. I don't see, lower brands using discounts. I see a lot of people wear on running shoes. All these things are extremely highly priced.
Yeah.
No one's asking for discounts on Rolex, right? They know this market knows how to value these products. So it's hard to say that Singaporeans don't value, or only value discounts. So I challenge that statement. I'd really challenge. Here's the opposite way to think about it, right? The opposite way, instead of running discount, would be using that budget I'll spend on discount. Let's say I make $100,000 a month, and I do that by running 20% discount. So essentially, it costs me $20,000, right, every month to run a promotion, not including the ad spend, coupon, ad.
Yeah.
$20,000 a month. What if I did something like, start a podcast, do a talk show, make a very, very high quality video? What if I went to every customer and gave them a free sample or did something else instead, right? So those are things that I could do with $20,000 a month budget instead of me running a discount. Because what happens when I run a discount, it's difficult for me to scale. The price expectation is set at this amount. So if I want to increase my margins, I can only do it by spending more money, right, on advertising, which just, once again, narrows my margins. Right, so it's unless there's a statistic that's out there by Nielsen that's run, 59% of promotions don't even break even.
Yep.
So if that's the case, then why are we still running discounts? You should see how you can take those margins away from discounts. Yeah. Of course, in the first month you'll see your revenue trickle down. It's scary. I understand that, right? But if you don't rip the band-aid, then at no point are you ever going to be able to recover. The moment you start, you can't stop.
Yeah.
So you need to start. You need to be able to bear the brunt of what you've then done. Find other ways to convey value. Allocate budget to adding value as opposed to diminishing perceived value.
Yeah. So it sounds like, to summarize what you're saying, for those people who are running at the cheapest price possible at the moment, how to break out of the cycle is to stop promotion, take the hit for a very short period of time, and then rebrand their ads or create a messaging that's more value add instead of race to the bottom, and then slowly bring up their brand positioning to a more sustainable brand for the business. Is that right?
People out there understand how to perceive value. And if you start educating them on what your perceived value is, and they'll value as such.
Yeah.
I give a great example is Apple for the last 3 to 4 years has been drilling home one message to everyone, and that's been on privacy. Privacy has been played over and over and over again. You see Apple, they never run any promotions. They don't do any discounts. If you're going to get a discount, it's through Quartz or someone else, or some other provider that's out there. And Apple doesn't even have the best product to market.
Yeah.
They really don't. If anyone's seen the new Huawei phones and whatnot, they're a whole different level of, of technology and specs, all those things. So I would say Apple's probably like the 5th best product out of the market right now, right? In terms of all specs and features, you're looking at just logical comparison, right?
Yeah.
But perceived value is by far the highest and solid in the contest.
Yeah.
But how they drove perceived value is really cornering the competitors. I don't know if Huawei is more or less privacy safe than Apple, but I'm not going to bet on it, right? You hear the rumor mill around Huawei being listened to by the CCP, all these things. No one has proof of that, right? But that perceived value is hindering them from being able to charge more for their state-of-the-art phones. So that brand aspect is really, really important. Educating customers of how value is really, really important, and it also takes repetition to do that as well. So it's being consistent over time.
To give you a bit more data points, each time when we have a client, one thing that we do is that we message all of our competitors, because we can spread Google Maps, so we can WhatsApp their competitors at one go. And for example, I want a Botox, okay? Then I'll message all the aesthetic clinics and ask them how much is a unit. In Singapore, the most commonly asked first question is how much. regardless what industry you're in. Okay, we have clients in the elderly care space, in clinic space. First question is always how much. Then how you answer this question, it really drives like sales. Okay, you could answer the question immediately. It costs this much to get Botox, or you can say that actually we help clients to help 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is what we do. This are results. Do you want to learn more about, let's say, the basic makeover or the complete, makeover, right? Then you guide them into a journey where to understand what your service is instead of just one unit of Botox. Then once you delay telling the client pricing as much as possible, they start seeing your business as something that's way more than what you can offer than just Botox. And that's how you can charge way more. Then company goes straight one shot. A Botox cost $80 a unit. And by the way, there's 20% promotion right now. Do you want to buy it? And a lot of time when we see this kind of message, and the next question is, please fill out a form. We'll book you in for a registration, for a consultation. And if the business were wondering, yeah, I have all these leads and they're not converting. Well, first you outprice yourself. Second, you ask the client to fill out a form. And they said, well, the marketing team needs this form so they can go back and retarget these clients. But it's a wrong target a lot of time. These clients that are shopping for a discount, right? Or they're not even interested to buy your service. So I feel like the feedback from the company to marketing agency, I think this will really help the engine to run a lot better. And this is why, one of the reasons we built it as well. But at the same time, having the right marketing department or agency sitting on top of all these leads is also important, because if you give me all the bad leads, there's no way I can nurture them to turn into sales. So I think the collaboration here in between the agency and the company is very crucial. So for SMEs, where, this kind of connected, how do I call this? Feedback from the ground on how leads behave and all the way until, increasing your customer lifetime value, right? All these feedback to marketing team is crucial. But at the same time, if marketing team is not really running a plumber campaign, when you bring you all the bad leads, there's no way the sales team can nurture them until much later, right? So how do you work with SMEs where they probably don't have an in-house team, or they probably have a half a headcount to managing their marketing side of things? How do you work with them closely to educate them? Not only to become the marketing operator, but to educate them that these are the things you need to take a look at it, and then to help them to be more successful in terms of knocking their goals at least.
I think the SME needs to be aware of the lead flow in the sales funnel. That's a sort of baseline knowledge that they must have. Meta leads generated, contacted, uncontactable, qualified, and then close one. I think those things they need to be aware of. Now, what are the action items that can be taken from that? Well, one could be a system-based problem where Superbench will be able to answer some of these problems. Another one could be an education-based problem where the customer has not learned how to value the service. And then another one could also be an external problem where competition is then sort of very fierce and whatnot, and just, they're just out-competing the SME. Now, on both those fronts, that seems to be something where it's a perceived value problem. I'm not buying Huawei phones because it's better, right? I'm still buying Apple phones because I have long stayed with the brand.
Yeah.
And it's not about loyalty either. I would happily switch phones if Apple starts going in the wrong direction, right? Happily switch phones. But it's more of, understanding the pain point to solve is likely going to come from the agency, but being aware of where the pain point is, the SME needs to have that level of education knowledge. So that way they can speak the same language and hold accountability. Because the truth is, most SMEs are going to work with an agency that has too many customers.
Yeah.
They sign on way too many customers to provide a quality service. So then you yourself as operator must know, must have this baseline knowledge to be able to diagnose a problem himself, and then host that line of questioning when the opportunity comes.
Yeah.
Ideally, in a perfect world, the agency will be proactive to all these things and whatnot. But it's never ideal world, right? So those are some things just to make sure that you are getting the service that you need. You must also prescribe for it.
Yeah. So the basic number to summarize they need to know is total leads generated by all the marketing campaigns, marketing qualified leads, sales, and then I guess anything else? Customer lifetime value.
Customer lifetime value is good, so now who your repeat customers are.
Yeah, and then customer acquisition costs. All in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you can do a full P&L based on every single customer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. To know how your business is growing. So I think that will be the baseline knowledge that they need. And
Yeah.
if I'm any small business owner, I think this is just a must. Yeah.
Have you seen there's a lot of marketing agencies start building their own chatbots sitting behind the ads? Have you thought about doing it? Have you thought about doing it for your own clients?
No.
Is there a reason why you don't want to do it?
Building chatbots as to track as ad.
Yeah, sitting behind the ads that you're running. So you can capture the sales cycle as well.
The main reason why for myself is whilst there's a use case for and there are going to be percentage customers that prefer to interact in that manner, there's going to be a larger proportion of customers that don't. So it's not to say that I'm against it per se. I think there's a value to it. Is this the number one pain point for my client to solve? Likely not. I think they have a lot of other pain points, especially on the perceived value piece. Right, that's the one that I really want to make sure is tackled, because, frankly, you're not going to see Apple have to run any chatbot ads and whatnot to interact with. And if you're educating customers enough, neither do you need that process either. I think it's preventative or curative, right? So I think the curative approach is, okay, I'm not giving enough information to one customer. Let me run this chatbot behind it that will educate the customer. I think that makes a lot of sense. If the approach is, I want all my customers to be aware of, all my future customers to be aware of what I do and how to value me, then that's a separate issue. And that's where my team then focus on how we can use sort of performance marketing to help increase a brand's perception, brand's value. I think that's sort of where I feel that solution lies.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've seen quite a bit of marketing agencies where they build a chatbot, but actually it's a traditional chatbot flow or fancy, or we call it fancy flow builder, wrapped with GPT. So then it behaves very much like a flow. So the moment that client goes off script, it stops. They need the human to come in. Where we build more goal-oriented AI. So either get a client to book an appointment, or we have to make sure they complete the booking funnel until payment. So that way we can nurture the leads all the way until the last bit. So that's how we can capture the whole CRM portion of it. So I do think e-commerce might benefit from these traditional chatbot and flow builders. While for the more delicate conversation like clinics, what they really need to think about if they want to elevate the brand, having a chatbot just spit out price like that, it will really damage.
That would be very damaging. Yeah. I think at all touch points, I think whether it's online or offline, I think the things don't change. We're still dealing with humans.
Yes.
There's lots of fancy tools out there, but at the end of the day, if you can direct them straight to a call to action, I think that will make the most sense, and it will drive the most perceived value. There's no shortcuts.
Yes.
You don't see Rolex, removing its stores and whatnot. It's the stores are a front, right? They can deliver their products e-commerce style if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
For them to have a storefront in Marina Bay Sands or wherever it is just to build that human connection, to have that front there. If you look at the amount of footfall they get for their store, they're not getting the value, right? They get like 1-2 people an hour. Like it's not a big, deal. That's not a deal breaker to root the store.
Yeah.
Right, but it is something that they want to be able to increase the perceived value of, and as a result, they do it. So yeah, it's not, it's not, it's not logical for them to do it, but at the same time, it is very, very logical for them to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. I love this analogy.